Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our daily FX analysis. Let's just start. It's Monday, obviously, Monday the 11th. So let's start with the economic calendar for the week. There's nothing major on today, guys. So as we do at the start of the week, we'll just run through the next 7 days. Employment change in UK coming in tomorrow. Economic sentiment in Germany and Eurozone. Inflation rate in Germany, GDP 3-month average in the UK, core inflation rate, and FOMC minutes on was that Wednesday from the United States. That's probably the most significant news of the week so far. And then Thursday, I assume that is, we have Westpac Consumer Confidence Index in Australia and employment change, unemployment rate. Now, I see Sydney has just come out of a 107-day lockdown. And I'm sure the people in Sydney are very happy about that. And which obviously should be good for the Australian economy. And then with inflation rate year on year and yuan loans in China. Now, I don't trade the yuan, guys, but if any of you do, then obviously those numbers be important. And then on Friday, we've got retail sales month on month out of the United States and the Michigan consumer sentiment. Okay, so not a great deal. Probably this is probably the biggest news for us because anything to do with the dollar gives us an idea of where the dollar is going. And then we've got a whole host of potential trades around that, guys. Okay, so let's go over just one quick news story here. Bitcoin, not gold, is the new inflation hedge, says JP Morgan. Now, we've been discussing this back and forward. Now, this is, yet again, this is opinion, guys. This isn't, nailed on, but it's kind of, I was looking for gold to start moving up as inflation started kicking in, guys, and it hasn't moved. And, and stocks with stock prices the last 3 months have been a little bit flat, if not short, and no real reaction from gold. So a little bit concerned because I used gold as a hedge about 3 or 4 months ago, and all it's done is made the situation worse. We'll have to see how it goes. But in the meantime, Bitcoin has moved long quite significantly over the last, certainly the last month, guys. So perhaps I zigged rather than zagged. But we'll have to see. But it's just another little thing to keep an eye on. There's a little bit more information to put in your back pocket when you're coming to make trading decisions, guys. Bitcoin has been on a run lately, surpassing 50,000 for the first time in a month. Well, that's not big news, really, is it? And up 87% year to date. Now, that is a big story. Gold is down 7.3% in the same time period. So clearly that was where to have your money and not over there. Lost money there, made lots of money over there. Now, does that mean that the next 6 months is going to be the same? No. If you're not on the Bitcoin rally at the moment or in the past, then I would say it's not too late, but we certainly would need a retraction from current prices in order to make it attractive again, guys. Things just don't keep going up. They will correct, and when they correct, maybe that'll be the time to get into it again, if that's what you want to do. Okay, over to the charts, guys. Aussie, New Zealand, Euro Aussie, Euro Yen, oil, and Euro Swiss are the alarms that have gone off over the weekend. So €3 there. So I assume negative movement on the euro. A couple of positives there for the Aussie. So positive Aussie, negative euro. Fortunately for me, that's one of the trades I took the last week or the week before. I didn't take Aussie New Zealand. Haven't taken it yet, guys. Probably a little bit too overcautious on it. But let's see what the chart looks like. Euro Yen could well be another one I've taken. Let me just check. Okay, I had a quick look there, guys. It was actually Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. Took both of those. Took profit on the Aussie yen last week, and New Zealand yen still running and is up. And the Euro yen is up. Euro Aussie is up as well, guys. So last week's currency trades were pretty good. The only thing downside to it for me is that I went with a 5 times leverage, which is great if you get it wrong. But when you get it right, then there's always that little bit of, could have made double the money if it had bumped the leverage up. But that's everyone's individual decision. I've decided to run for a few months with 5, just to see what the results are compared to running with 10, guys. I found last time I was doing a lot of currency trading, I found that I was breaking even or slight losses running with 10, guys. Because when you get it wrong, the losses really rack up and you don't have much room before you're kind of going, I need to get out of this. Whereas with 5, you can allow it to run for weeks, and then come down again and get out for a break even, or maybe, it moves up and then corrects back down again and you actually make some money, guys. So that's just something you have to work on for yourself. I'll keep you updated with my findings on running with ×5 leverage on currencies. Okay, so let's get into it. Yen, as we called from way back. I wish I'd have put a chart out in this now, guys. It's always a lot better when you can just click on a chart and show people that it's what you had called. We saw this running flat from back here. And if anyone who follows the daily basis will understand this, there's a running flat, guys, and we're looking for a breakout. Now, as always with these things, guys, there is a trend line there. It could well, come to there and then react off it, but I suspect there's a bit more downside. Also, we've come into that level. Is that going to be significant? The main thing with this is that, for trading the yen short, you should have already been in it through here or even down through there. That's when I got. When it pulled back here, that's when I traded the Aussie and New Zealand long against the yen, and both trades have paid off. So let's see where it gets to, guys. I'm possibly looking for something like that, but let's just see where it goes. DXY continuing to go up as expected, folks. This is on 4 hours. We were just talking the other day about how you would get into it. Maybe if it drew down to there, that would be the place to get in. But nonetheless, let's just clear a little bit. I think there's more upside to this until the European economies start getting themselves up and going, and the ECB starts talking about either tapering or increasing rates. Then this is going to continue to go up, guys. So long the dollar will continue long the dollar, which means continue short dollar, euro dollar, which could well be a little setup there to go. Give them room, guys, because obviously, we can get these things wrong because the market will do what it wants to do. Fundamentally, it should do that, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a few days where it pulls back before it goes. And if you've got too high a leverage or too tight a stop loss, then you'll be stopped out and then you'll actually miss the trade, guys. It happens so often. Pound, yeah, I would stick with that. Short, Aussie US. I'm a little bit unsure about this one, guys, because the Aussie's getting a little bit of a boost at the minute, expecting interest rates to be increased over the next period of time. I don't know exactly. That's maybe a little zigzag back before. Oh, no. No. Don't trade that one, guys. Don't trade that one unless you know something that I don't know. because the dollar's going long, which should pull it down. But if the Aussie's going long, it'll end up running flat, guys. Yeah, you're always looking for long if you can get it. Long against short, guys. So if you get the idea that fundamentally and technically something's going long, then you're looking for something that's going in the opposite direction. So that there's your potential win, as it were. Whereas if something's going long and something else is going long, then that's what you have. And that's where you get things like that, guys, where the chart does something like that. And that's rubbish to be trading. If you get something like this, where something's going short against something that's going long, that's when you get impulses, guys. And that's really what you want to get into. Now, it's all easier said than done, but that's what we're looking for. And when you find those little nuggets or those little opportunities, that's when you can really capitalize on it, guys. New Zealand yen, sorry, what am I talking about? Monday morning, folks. New Zealand USD, I'd say similar to the Aussie USD in that they have just recently increased their interest rates. Could well be priced in, they say. I don't know if that was the price in, but probably not. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? No, it was only September. This is, 4 hours? So I would leave that one alone as well. Yes, CAD. Well, yet again, oil prices continuing to go up, guys. But this is probably approaching its a point where it's going to start running flat. So I wouldn't try and trade that. Now, this is a little bit more interesting. I suspect there's another leg up in this. Look at how it's been moving up, draws down, up, draws down, up, draws down. Didn't quite, put a long move in there, just broke and it's come down. The next move should be long, guys. There you go. US yen. That's the last leg down there on the yen. The latest leg down, should I say. And the move up in the dollar. We did say that would be a good trade. I didn't trade it, though. I just couldn't get into it. US Swiss looking like it's setting up to go long. And if gold doesn't start making... Oh, yeah. Just checking which way round they were there. If gold doesn't start making a move, then the Swiss is going to continue to weaken, guys, against the dollar. There's gold. Now, I watched this. Let's take this down to the 1 hour. I watched this on Friday, guys, and it took off. And I've been trading long enough to not jump into moving candles. You have to experience these things yourselves. People say, don't be doing this. And then, of course, you go ahead and you do it. And after you've done something for 2 or 3 years, you go, do you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do that. And that's about getting your, building your strategy and having the discipline to stick to it, guys. Now, I'd put this in, wondering if we were going to get a movement the other side of that, and potentially a breakout for gold, guys. So when I saw that on Friday, I thought, oh my goodness, what are you going to do? Are you going to get into this? And then I thought, well, I'm already in quite a few. I'm in GDXJ, the junior gold mining ETF. Should have really been GDX, guys. I think it was in GDX, took profit from it, and then tried GDXJ. The junior ETF for gold mining companies, guys. And I'm also in a couple of individual gold mines. So then I thought, well, don't be buying gold as well, because if it goes wrong, then you've just, doubled up on your pain. And I come back an hour or two later. Well, I don't know, I must have reset the alarm or something. And I heard the alarm going off and went, my goodness, that's going on up. But whatever way I'd done, it was coming back down again. So they sat and watched, and I thought, well, thank goodness I didn't get into it, because within an hour I would have been deep in the red again, guys, and sitting wondering when this thing's ever going to go long. And silver did the same thing. There you go. And I am in a silver SLV ETF. Bitcoin, just continue. This is on a 1 hour time scale, guys. This last few weeks, it's just gone up and up and up and up. It will correct. Maybe that will be the time for someone to think about getting into it. If you back out to the daily time scale, what I was looking at back here was that we were in some sort of corrective structure there. And I thought, well, if it comes back off to there, I'll definitely be interested in it. But it took off from there, guys. I wasn't in it. And with hindsight, looking at it on a daily time scale, you could have made a case for that breaking out there. So the chances are it'll either peak out there, or it'll come up and hit a double top, and then you'll get a reaction off it. I don't know how big the reaction is going to be, but you will get a reaction off there, and probably it'll go again from there. But if we're lucky and we're not in it, if you were to get, say in the first 3 months of next year, maybe it comes off back down into that sort of level there, then that'd be your opportunity to get into it. And the same is going to be said for Ethereum, guys. Moving in the same way, same direction. I was looking for it to come off down into maybe there, or even maybe a bit lower, and then get into it, just accumulate. But it hasn't come down. I'm not buying in there, guys. I'm too long in the tooth for that. Can it go? Yes, certainly can go. Will it hit that again? Probably will. Will it go beyond that? It probably will. But what's it going to do between here and there? And that's the thing you've got to always think about, guys. Is it going to do this first before it goes? Or even if it did that, guys, if you got in there and it came back even to there, you're going to be heavily in the red. And then you're going to have to sit and wait for weeks and months to decide whether it's going to come along again. Now, if you're a long-term investor, then that's okay. But if you're a trader, it isn't okay, because your money's locked up in the red in something that you don't want to be locked into. So, trading's a little bit different to investing, folks. Oil, there it is. We've called it long. It's continuing to move long. It's gone off again. It's going to keep going up. Could well hit $100 a barrel before maybe you get a reaction. If we get a bad winter this year in the Northern Hemisphere, we don't know if we will, but if we did, then you could maybe even see it breaking 100, unless OPEC decide to step in and do something. I'm wondering, while we're talking about energy, what Putin is asking for in order to supply gas to the European Union. Probably a lifting of sanctions. He's a wily character, is old Putin. EuroCAD continuing down. Pretty well developed now, guys. I don't like getting into things that are that well developed, because at some point you're going to get a reaction. But when it's going to come, I don't know. So don't be trading that long. It could continue down for a while and then run flat for a while, and then we'll see what happens to oil prices and what happens to the euro. But it's coming. It's getting pretty near. Is that an all-time low? Let's have a look. No. Okay. Oh, there's plenty of room for it to move. But having said that, it spiked down there, and, well, it's broken. Is that a breakout? Depends, guys. You could always move your line to there and go, no, it's not. Or you keep your line back there, but it's difficult to get a line that actually hits them all. So I tend not to use trend lines, as a measure of where something is or where it goes, guys. All it is a line to indicate that from there that was your trend right through that, guys. Now, is that trend going to continue? We don't know. If it were to turn and move up, then at some point in the future, we would put that line to there and say, well, there's your trend continuing. If it were to break out here and for some reason continue and do that, then obviously along here somewhere we would have another trend line and say, well, there's our new trend. I don't think there's much more downside to it. So that's why I'm saying it. Listen, I could be wrong, folks, but the euro would have to weaken significantly and the CAD would have to strengthen significantly for this to continue to push down into these sorts of zones, guys. It hasn't been down there since, let's just put a line across it here. Well, since there, which was 25th of February 2020. That was the crash, wasn't it? That was the crash. Remember the oil price crashed February 20. Am I right in that, guys? Was that it was, wasn't it? Let's just go to the oil. When was the big crash on oil? Well, that was April, March, January, February. That's weird. Let's just do a little comparison here. What we're looking at, Euro CAD, was it? These things are. Can you change the scale? No, that didn't help. Turned it into a straight line. Let's go back to log. No, that hasn't helped at all, guys. Let's get that off. Yeah, that was the drop in oil prices, and I thought that big drop there could have been attributed to it, or that rise in the euro against the CAD. The oil collapsed in and around there somewhere. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to recommend doing anything with that. If you're already in it, then you could hold on for a better return if that's what you feel like doing. There's the Euro Oz as well. That's the one I'm in. I might just take profit in that, guys, just in case it starts coming long again. I take profit more along the lines of percentage return on investment, guys, or on what the money put in your trade. So you're looking at 5% or 10%, something like that, and you go, right, I've hit my 10% or my 5% target. I'm out of here, and it keeps going after that. Well, so be it. But the important thing is that I don't like being in the green and then watching something go back into the red, guys. And therefore, if it hits 5%, I go, well, that'll do me, I'm out of here. And then look for another trade. But if you're one of those people that wants to just let it run and run and run, which is, a lot less energy you have to use on it, then you can do that. Put your stop loss to 0, and if it comes back to 0, so be it. But 1 in 6 or 1 in 7 trades will just keep going, and you'll collect a big bonus at the end. It's whether, the 5 small trades at 5% are outweighed by one big trade. Because you will, if you're 5, 6, 7% up, often they will come back down to 0, guys. So you do need to have a strategy for that. So Euro Oz in the 4-hour continuing short, pulling back a little bit this morning. well, from here I said it will probably continue to go down like that, and the way it had been going, guys. It's been moving like that. So from here I said, listen, get a pullback. But at some point in here I went short on it. Euro New Zealand running flat, and the reason it's running flat is because New Zealand isn't as strong as the Aussie at the minute, and therefore rather than it doing that, you're getting it doing that, and that's because you've probably got weak against weak, and therefore you've got something that's doing that, whereas you've got strong against weak, then your chart will do that, guys, which is what's happening with the Euro Auss. The opposite up right round, of course, because the Auss is on that side of the equation. And Euro Yen, where yet again was the one to get into. I talked at length about it last week and the week before, that the yen was weakening and there were trades to be had with it, guys. So can't say I didn't say, if you get into some of them, you should be making some money. Euro Swiss, not as sure about that one, guys. I'll just leave that one alone. Pound CAD, well, there's the CAD continuing to drop against the pound. I think the pound's in trouble at the minute. I think the UK economy as a whole is in trouble, between not enough people to fulfill jobs, major problems with logistics because there's not enough truck drivers, and of course everybody's doing the old thing of pointing out, you blame the thing that you don't like. So obviously they're all blaming Brexit, and it's got very little to do with Brexit. From the point of view of, they've actually changed the taxation codes. I don't know if it's just for truck drivers or for that type of work. And the guys were getting taxed too much for doing overtime, so they all said, well, the hell with this, and they've left the industry and they're not coming back. So somewhere along the line, the government shot itself in the foot there. And then with Brexit, they then didn't have the opportunity to draw people in from Europe to fill those jobs that British drivers didn't want to do because they didn't feel they were being paid enough. But there are truck driver shortages in Europe as well. So the idea that it was just Brexit is nonsense. And the reason I say that isn't because I'm pro or negative Brexit, guys. It's just that you have to know the real reason why things are happening, or else you'll, if you trade something on a false belief, you'll get it wrong. So you need the truth. And whether it's about truck drivers or whether it's about politics, or no matter what it is, find the truth, guys. Don't be lazy. Don't just listen to people spouting their own agendas. Find out the truth. And I'll tell you what, you'll be a lot happier. Pound Swiss, I am short in this, guys. I've kind of got it wrong. It's been bouncing into the green, into the red, into the green, into the red. We're just slightly in the red at the minute. I'm hoping eventually it's going to break down. Obviously, gold going long would help my case. I do think that there's more downside to it, guys. I think we're in a corrective. We had a drop there, corrected, a drop there, corrected. I think we'll get another drop. If I could catch one of those, I'd be over the moon. Pound euro, not so sure, guys. Maybe downside, but not at the minute. Pound yen, well, there you go. What was I talking about here? Well, what I was saying was that because of my feeling that the pound's weakening, I thought, well, if the pound weakens to here, then maybe you can trade it back up. And then if you're lucky and it breaks out, fantastic. Well, yet again, it's all about timing. There was the place to get involved in it. But yet again, nice trade. What's next? Well, if it corrects like that, maybe you trade that. But I'd rather, if you're going to trade the yen short, then you'll be better trading against something else rather than the pound, but something you have more idea of where it's going. For example, the dollar, or the Aussie, or the New Zealand, all of which. And there again, Aussie yen, that's the one that I closed, I think. Yep, closed it. Probably should have stayed in it. But I had 6% out of it with a five times leverage, guys, which was okay. Aussie New Zealand, yep, continuing to go on up. I was too chicken here to take that trade out of there, guys. We set it up, we saw it, said it was going to run. But I'm looking for potentially a setup to get into it, guys. If you're in it, listen, I think it's going to continue to go up. It could be a correction. Maybe put your stop to zero. Yet again, it's up to it's up to your own trading strategy, guys. Maybe you think, right, I've got my rewards out of that one, get out of it, wait for the next correction, then try and get into it again. Although that's always easier said than done. Aussie Swiss, I don't know where that's going, guys. Aussie CAD, there's a little bit of a reaction of the Aussie against the CAD, but I don't know where that's going. Swiss yen, well, I did say it was going to go long, folks. And do you remember I also said last week that the majority of people in eToro were shorting this, and I said to you, don't go with the sentiment on anything basically, but certainly not on eToro when you go into the watch list. And don't look at the sentiment, guys. You do your own thing. So it was like 67% of people were selling this last week, and look at it. It was blatantly obvious that it was going to go long. Another good trade. I need to start putting charts out, guys, so that I can show people from a marketing point of view, just to let people know we're getting things right here. CAD Swiss, got that one right as well, but yet again I chickened out of it. I got in here somewhere, it came back down to zero, hit my stop loss, I put on zero, and off it went. I did know it was going to go up. I should have stuck to it. But to be honest, I had 4 or 5 currency trades on, guys, and it was the first time I started trading currencies for months. And I just thought, you've got a little bit carried away with yourself here. So I let a few things go. But out of it was either 5 or 6, 4 of them, one came back, stopped out for near enough to zero. One is slightly in the red at the minute, and the other 3 are all well in the green, guys. So I did pretty well last week with the trades we took. CAD yen, yet again, guys, it did say it was going to go long. There's our alarm. That was possibly the little arrow I put in. What next? Well, you're going to have to wait for some sort of setup to get into it again. New Zealand yen, that's one of the ones I'm still in. That could be the start of a correction, guys. I'll probably take profit off that today. It's come up into here. Often you'll get a reaction of that before going long, if that's what it's going to do. So I think I'll just close that one. New Zealand CAD, as with the Aussie CAD, I need to do more work on these two to understand what the differentials are in them. I just know that they're, for me, I just take big broad things, guys, 80-20. You just look at some, you say, that's commodity based, commodities are going up, that's going to go up. That's, more sensitive to interest rate decisions. Interest rates are going up or they're going down, therefore that gives you a direction. Rather than getting into the nitty gritty, because there's so much to look at, guys, that you would either need to become an absolute specialist, and then I would have nothing to say to you guys other than the dollar's doing that today, the dollar's doing this tomorrow, and that would become very, very boring for you and for me, if you specialize just in the dollar. But there are people that just trade one instrument, euro dollar, dollar yen, whatever it may be, and they trade it and they trade it and they trade it, and often they're very successful at it. The problem with doing that, guys, is if you get it wrong and your whole strategy is all around that, you can really, really get sunk. And there was a guy last year, whenever we had the pandemic, excuse me, the only thing he traded was CAD Swiss. And he put everything into CAD Swiss and lost a lot, guys. And he's gone now. And up to then, he had a lot of followers. And even after things were dropping like a stone, it's still loyal people going, hey, I'm sticking by you. I believe in you. You've made me profits in the past. And it was blatantly obvious that they'd got it wrong, guys. And I think eventually he left eToro. New Zealand Swiss. Yeah, potentially. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure about the Swiss at the minute. As I say, I think long term, the Swiss will, get a little bit of a hit off all the move to safety. So I think long term, this will certainly move down, but I'm not sure about other things, guys. So I'll not try and trade that. When I get an idea about it, we'll talk about it, and then we'll maybe look at some trade setups for it, guys. Okay, that'll do this for today. I'll speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.